Hello, I'm Felicia Gibson, Managing Director at Felsa Limited, a company based in the UK. Felsa developed PACS, profile assessment and setting, and I will be speaking today with Rozina Spinnoy, social entrepreneur and design strategist from Brussels, Belgium. How are you, Rozina?
I'm fine, thanks, Felicia. Nice to be here.
Rozina, tell me about yourself.
I'm Rozina Spinnoy. I'm a social entrepreneur and design strategist, as you mentioned, living and based here in Brussels over the last 18 years with my 3 sons and my husband. My work takes me to focusing on projects around designing inclusive communities, and this across different sectors, a variety of sectors, including sort of creating awareness around inclusion and what this means from inclusive environments in the public realm of actual spaces externally and also in the interior environment. And also taking me to designing an inclusive program that was inspired by my neurodiverse son, which was Analogue to Digital, which I developed about 3 years ago with my son and his friends, actually co-designing it, looking at how we can really nurture the skills using creativity and with the digital tools to empower and nurture the skills of neurodiverse and neurotypical children together with enhancing those critical thinking and design thinking skills.
So why critical thinking is important, Rozina?
Well, critical thinking is actually crucial. It's a necessity for living our lives, our day-to-day life. It's said that we make, as adults, around 35,000 decisions, conscious decisions a day, and as children, around 3,000 decisions a day. So how do we improve the quality of those thoughts and decision making for those using critical thinking, and how do we bring about good decision making? We need to encourage for youth to think independently. You know, it's more than just thinking clearly or rationally. It's really encouraging the process of nurturing through creative play and storytelling, and how this can also help us understand the consequences of the actions to get to the problem solving that we need to do. Children draw on their existing knowledge and their existing experience, you know, to compare, to contrast. They need to understand the world around them. They need to evaluate their ideas, their opinions, so they can debate, so they can get to a point of understanding and also understand the perspectives of others. So we really need to kind of nurture this with teachers, educators, nurturing this creativity and this design thinking.
And it's the questions, how do we encourage creativity, Rozina?
Well, we can encourage critical thinking in many ways, but it's also encouraging this environment of exploration. You know, questioning, beginning with questions, the right questions, posing them. For example, in the workshops that I did, it was really posing a variety of different questions. It was thinking more as a facilitator and as a mentor, which I think educators need to, and parents can do more. It's rather than telling our children what they need to think, it's just posing those right questions. It's important to really, with those right questions, to inspire that quest for knowledge, nurturing that curiosity and those problem solving skills that they need to grow to understand and see different perspectives and potentially different scenarios. So they're really opening their mind. You know, creativity is not in a box. So we need to really nurture this imagination of theirs and encourage the problem solving skills at hand. And we can do this also through visual tools, through lots of different creativity, through storytelling boards, through a variety of tools. In our workshop, we had, for example, some of the traditional methods of drawing, painting, but also the clay making and you know, also the digital tools, but they had a choice, they had a range of how do they want to paint, with their fingers, with the brush. You know, it's leaving the mind open and letting them make the decisions. It also encourages with design thinking this empathy, you know, you really, with trying to define what are the answers, how do we create, you know, how do we have these different ideas, how can we try out lots of different ideas and experiment. You know, there's no right or wrong, but we want to encourage them to good decisions. It helps really develop the analytical and spatial, the analytical skills and the sort of spatial growth of the mindset, and the skills that are required for the future of education, actually. PAGS is a very important tool that I've actually used also in the progress of my neurodiverse child. It's been incredibly helpful to reconfirm what, as parents, we also observed. You know, as parents, what we observed, and this reconfirmed exactly what we knew, along with the educators, because I think PAGS is working as a community. It's working together with the educators, with the parents, with the coordinators, everyone that was involved and is involved in my son's life, to really have that alignment and to have that global overview that is required. In order for my son to progress, we need to understand what his strengths are, what his weaknesses are, together with others. So we may have different perspectives, but there's maybe a red line running through it that we can all work on together with the targets. So it really helps with that global vision and having that overview, and it's really been quite essential for us to have that and work together as a community.
So we are really looking forward to having a presenter at Education Reimagined on the 18th of July. So what will be your presentation? What you will be talking about?
I'm really looking forward to it also. So thank you for having me in that. I'm really looking forward to that and to meet everyone that will be presenting. Well, we will actually be going deeper into what I've mentioned today. So we'll be going deeper into the critical thinking, into the design thinking, into the universal design. So really looking at also what are the traits and abilities that can serve youth to be open-minded, to be reflective, to encourage that empathy, whilst not being afraid to take risks and experiment, because that's incredibly important. Also, I believe as a community of educators, policymakers, as parents, the wider community, we will also look at sort of, as well as this, you know, the inclusive education aspect and encouraging the critical thinking skills, the wider physical environment and how this interlinks to inclusive communities and universal design and the universal design principles that we must adopt as policymakers in our community.
Well, thank you ever so much, Rozina, for your time today. We are looking forward to continue our work with PAGS with your son, and then we're looking forward to having you as a presenter at Education Reimagined in July.
Looking forward to it too. Thank you, Felicia.